when you are invited to stand before the altar in the great central sun of the hierarchy of light, what do you suppose is the first activity that wells up within your conscious awareness? It is God love. For in that moment, when all of your conscious vehicles are highly attuned, waiting for what you know not, suddenly there dawns upon you an overwhelming love that perhaps you had never experienced before. For you had not been within the power of God love so intently that it would sweep from your conscious awareness all thought of being, all awareness of activity, all sense of breath. All you were able to witness of the experience was love. Love which could not be described by any word that would come to mind. And though you might have searched all of the poets of the land, renowned with expression of love, all of the paintings exhibiting beauty, establishing a portrait of love, all of nature filled with the abundance of life, teeming with the effervescence of the ongoingness of God, expanding and multiplying, still there would be no words for the love that fueled that creativity. That, blessed ones, is love. That is the truth of love, the purity of love, the consciousness of love. It streams forth to activate within you a desiring to be. And in that be-ness, there is a qualification that must come into form, actualizing the perfect, pure essence of God that is at the core of your being. I stand before you, Paul the Venetian, Chohan of the love ray of God consciousness. I draw forth by the magnet of my heart and my momentum the fullness of the love of God from the great central sun, that I might teach, instruct, and impart to you that essence of God that makes all life worth living, all form come into being, all of the universal sea of life teeming with the substance of God consciousness, and held within its rightful place by the hand of God, waiting for the flame of God love upon the altar of your heart to appropriate it, to be that consonant resonance of like quality of the pure essence of God that says, I am love. Go forth in the fullness of my desiring and be. Throughout life, you are given many opportunities to experience love. You know many of them in the forefront of your consciousness, for they press in upon your outer vehicles so tangibly, so physically, so energetically, so that that part of life that desires your love will generate a response from your heart flame. For indeed all of life wants what is at the core of the flame of God love. It not only needs it, it demands it. For the great magnet of God love must be present in all things to have the cohesiveness for life to be. You have understood the truth of the will of God and how it is all-powerful. But at the core of the will of God within you must be an intense love with which to magnetize the fullness of God to express through you. And you have also learned that for there to be wisdom in all of your activities, all of your thoughts, all of your deeds, all of your wise use of the light of God, you must be filled with illumination. And for that illumination to burn brightly, there must be a constancy in your world to hold fast to the will of God, and for the love of God to knit together each of these flames, so that you have the very foundation that you require for life. This is why you have been given a threefold action of love, wisdom, and power, as illumination burns brightly in the crown, the love fostering the flame upon the heart, and the will of God that you command through the throat chakra. You are given the opportunity to work great alchemies within your own outer vehicles that set in motion the rays of your own God presence to respond when you are in attunement with the very presence of God that is the truth of your being. When you come to my retreat, you are not merely taught the aspects of love, how it feels, what you do to generate God love. What are the cause-effect relationships of God love? But you are given, blessed ones, the key to opening your own heart flame of God love. For unless you are able to do so, you cannot begin to know the experience I described before the altar and the great central sun. For the flame upon the altar of your heart is the open door to your mighty I Am presence that leads you to the vastness of God and the fullness of attainment that you are to garner and draw forth from out of the heart of God in the great central sun. For there to be that ongoing chain link of the hierarchy of God love, assist you with the building blocks of your own attainment and mastery on love. There must be the ability for you to be stirred deep within your own heart flame. That does not mean emotionalism. That means, blessed ones, such joy, such bliss, such resonance of God love, that you are sure that you will melt in the heat of the closeness of God. There will be not one vestige of your outer vehicles that is untouched by that love. That is when you know you have been loved and you can love. For it is that activity, blessed ones, that allows you to truly love life, love another son or daughter of God, love a child. Oh, perhaps it is easier for some, so they think, to love another life stream. But is it true love, unconditionally given? Or is there an expectation of return? Can you love that one and watch them walk away and allow that love to continue to flow? Can you love that one and they turn with anger toward you and your love? The safe harbor for you, blessed ones, in all cases, is to allow for the flow of God love to never cease in your life. For your mighty I Am presence has an infinite supply of God love. The hierarchy of light is there to reinforce you in your outer vehicles, should you wane with your own ability to draw forth that love, until you have gained the full mastery and attainment. Then, as that flow moves effortlessly through you, pouring forth the substance of God love, touching all of your life, every thought that you have, every atmosphere you enter, every activity that you accomplish and engage in. It is all filled with God love. Then when there is a discouraging word, or some part of life that is not in that same love vibration of God, it does not disturb the core of your being. You may think in your outer mind that it is displeasing. You may have a flicker across your emotional body for a moment, but just as quickly as it is felt, it is consumed by the love of the flow from your God presence, and it is no more. And you move on with your day, sending that part of life unconditional love, allowing them to move along at their own speed and their own ability to accept their mighty I Am presence, their opportunity in life. For you would not be caught lashing out, certainly with the power of the will of God that you had amassed, or misusing illumination's flame, or distorting and skewing the love you were entrusted with by your God presence. What a disgrace to be given such a glorious gift, and then at a moment, a flash, and lose so very much that would have to be regained. New training for the outer vehicles, to learn once more how to hold on to the vibration of the purity of the flame on the altar of the heart, so that you would not be caught off guard again. There are other rays of God consciousness that will assist you in protecting your vehicles so that they will remain and stay in the vibration of God. There are teachings of the Chohans, of the pranic breaths, the 5 secret rays, secret no more, so that you might gain the attainment to hold fast to the very precious gift of the threefold flame as the foundation of your life, entrusted to your outer vehicles. I say entrusted, blessed ones, because your God presence has trusted you in your mind, your emotions, your physical body, and yes, your memories, to hold fast to the purity and the vibration of God, so that you might have all that you require to move forward and gain the attainment and mastery, to win your ascension in the light, to return home again into the octaves of light. And while you are on your sojourn as a pilgrim, moving in and out of incarnations, putting on different personas, testing the metal you are made of. You are likewise intended to remember. The presence of God resides upon the altar of your heart, and your presence trusted you to remember that. Do not dash it against the stony ground when the going gets difficult. Not shake your fist at God when you are in despair and living a separate life from God. God is so close to you. And yet, if your consciousness and your activities are far afield in vibration, yes, you might as well be on another world, separate and apart from God. But that cannot happen, because you have been given by your God presence a very special gift. It is the gift of the foundation of life upon which you may build your temple. And that temple has all that you have desired it to be. If your desiring was not the desire of God, was not the love of God issuing forth to create form, and some distortion, some karmic pattern needed to be balanced, then, blessed ones, love that distortion as you transmute it to be no more. Invoke God's love so that those areas of your life that have drawn to you by the karmic patterns of your own activities in this or other lifetimes will be treated by the most precious gift of all, God love. That is the activity of the violet flame. That is the activity of the ruby fire, born out of the fullness of God love, concentrated in its most intense activity, so that all within that distortion of life will be returned back to wholeness and the pure, identical blueprint of its inception. You, blessed hearts, have been given the opportunity to know of these teachings. Others may partake, but when the heart flame is closed and there is not enough love for God, no matter of teaching or instruction can entice another to hear, to receive, and to become the flame of God. It must be met by a heart that is yearning, that desires God. That is why the door to the heart must be open. That is why there must be just a little crack to squeeze out a little light of God love, of God will, of God illumination, and any combination of the three that overlays one another as this threefold activity coming to be, to awaken the life stream, that there is more to life, more to experience of God, more to love, and more love to receive. Interestingly, even though you know of the abundant love of your God presence, it is contrary to think that just because you love God, it will suddenly prime the pump and you will be filled with God love. There must be other activities going on in your life that allow you to stand in the fullness of who you are and experience the outpouring of God love. There must be harmony. There must be a deep peace. There must be right thinking. For you cannot be thinking contrary thoughts and have the full depth of harmony and peace that you require to feel God love. And just because you may say, I love God, does not mean to the very depths of your being you have felt, expressed, and generated the flame of God love from the altar of your heart to leap into action, to connect all of your vehicles of consciousness with the fullness of your mighty I Am presence in God love. This is why, blessed ones, as Chohan of the third ray of God love, I teach you how to know what it is like to be in love. For when you are truly in love, all of life is new. And it does draw as a great magnet the love of God in the allness of God to shine forth and make all new, all exciting, all joyful. And the pains and uncomfortability in life dissolve away. The sense of struggle is no more. And you are able to open wide your heart and express love beyond any measure that could quantify that love. That, blessed ones, is my hope for all. And it is not just that which I hope, but every hierarch that serves on the ray of God love stands poised and ready to share with you their momentum, for they understand that the fullness of God love is a prerequisite for gaining mastery. For you cannot have all of the building blocks of life for a firm foundation that you require if there is not the cohesive magnet of God love to hold it in place and to draw more of the stepping stones that you require to be put into place for the fulfillment of your victories. And there will be many victories, some greater than others. And they will all be to the glory of God, for you will have understood that it is the love of God that you have opened up to welcome in, to make your life have holy purpose and divine intent. And not just for your life stream, not just for your family, your community, but the entire humanity that needs to be awakened to their divinity, to the reality that God would not leave them comfortless. God is always standing ready to love that one, caress the brow of that one, protect that one with an outpouring of love that consumes on the instant all that would oppose them. Are you beginning to understand, blessed ones? There is far more to the rays of God quality and the virtues of the Christ of the pranic breaths than you have begun to put into action in your own life. We have moved beyond the fundamental teachings of the ascended masters with the erecting of the Pharos of Hierarchy. You have the ability in your own life to draw upon greater depths, greater momentum, greater God consciousness than you have begun to realize to date. The fullness of God is just beginning to be revealed to you. Do not take it lightly or skim over something that may reflect as a statement you have heard before, or some platitude that, well, maybe in time you will experience. No, blessed ones, it is time for you to have the experience with your God presence, with these God qualities, with the unbridled release streaming forth by dispensation, so that you would have the opportunity to drink it in. Throughout the ages, you have heard the statement that the winds are tempered. O blessed ones, these are not. When you receive the charge of each quality of God, most assuredly having experienced the mighty shield of Elohim, igniting the points of light in your crown, this activity by the Chohans will enable you to distill into your outer consciousness a greater level of ability to utilize the gifts of the Elohim and the momentum of the Chohans. It is a process, blessed ones. You cannot achieve it all overnight, though there be no limitation to the mighty I Am presence. It is up to you to grasp, here and now, the opportunity extended to you. Are you ready to stand in the fullness of God love before the great central sun and be absorbed into the fullness of that love, and then distill that action into a way of life? No one comes before God unwilling, unillumined, without desire for God. Let the fullness of God love be impressed upon you this day as a mark of God consciousness that will always remind you that the light of God is all-powerful and the love of God is always with you. I, Paul the Venetian, send forth the call to the hierarchy of God love throughout the entire spirit of the Brotherhood of Light, to release your momentum of love in the earth, so that it will move the heart flames of the sons and daughters of God to awaken to the light of God, their own mighty I Am presence, and to the Pharos of Hierarchy that stands ready to support them in their achieving the victory in life.